Good afternoon. My name is Alejandro Prada. I'm Director of Corporate Affairs and Transparency in IDB Invest. I'm here with Carlos Leiria Pinto, IFC Brazil Country Director. We are going to talk about biodiversity finance. Now, together with climate change, biodiversity is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing at this moment. In the Biodiversity COP15 in Montreal in 2022, 180 countries agreed to take action to halt biodiversity loss by 2030. The next Biodiversity COP will take place in Cali, Colombia, in November of 2024. And remember that the Amazon forest has 25% of the global terrestrial biodiversity of the world. So this conversation is very relevant for Latin America. The case for biodiversity finance is not only environmental, it's an economic case, as biodiversity is foundational for agribusiness, bioeconomy, and food security, among others. For this reason, the multilateral development banks that work with the private sector, like IDB Invest and the International Finance Corporation, are trying to find ways to channel private finance to address the drivers of biodiversity loss. In this context, the IFC prepared a biodiversity finance reference guide. And I'm here with Carlos to talk about this innovative product. Carlos, welcome to Sustainability Week. Let me start by asking you, why is IFC launching the biodiversity finance reference guide?
Thank you, Alejandro, and thank you so much for inviting us and inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. Let me say that biodiversity is really at the forefront of our concerns right now. I mean, we have been really focusing on climate change, on adaptation, on transition in terms of the energy, but we haven't been really focused on biodiversity so far. So this is the time to concentrate in biodiversity. And why? I mean, biodiversity is at the same level of climate change. They are interconnected. So we cannot really address climate change without tackling the issue of biodiversity. You may remember that in the COP15, the global biodiversity frame was signed. So this is the frame that we are following, a frame that sets targets to halt and reverse biodiversity by 2030, which is pretty challenging. It also estimates that something around $700 billion a year is needed to address these very challenging targets. So, and there is also estimates that $200 billion out of these 700 should come from the private sector. And that's precisely why we are launching this biodiversity finance reference guide, because you need to bring the private sector into this problem, into this situation. So we need to create the context, the atmosphere, the attractiveness, everything that is required so that the private sector feels comfortable to invest in biodiversity. This guide fulfills three main acts. I would say the first one is to provide clear guidelines and a list of investments and projects that contribute to protection and enhancement of biodiversity. This is the first one. The second one is to showcase the business case for biodiversity finance. As I mentioned, a way to attract the private sector into this new sector. And the third one is an argument for the private sector to seize opportunities by nature-based solutions. So I'd say that in conclusion, this is a win-win situation where the business could be attractive for private sector investments, and by doing that, we will be supporting biodiversity.
And why are you launching this biodiversity finance reference guide in Brazil and in Portuguese? Why specifically?
No, it's a very, very good question. As you started and you mentioned how the Amazon is important. Of course, Amazon covers 9 countries or 8 countries, but the main part of the Amazon is in Brazil. In addition to that, there are other relevant biomes in Brazil, not only the Amazon, the Cerrado, the Mata Atlântica. So the potential of biodiversity of this country is just amazing. So precisely because there is this huge potential, IFC aims to tap into this market, okay? And we want to promote using this guide to integrate the biodiversity challenges and the private sector. So this is the main point of launching this guide now in Brazil, is because we see a huge potential in Brazil.
And Carlos, what are the main benefits of biodiversity finance?
Yeah. Listen, I would divide that into separate areas. The first one is the concept, the purpose, or the aim, if you want. I mean, this is a crucial role in addressing the main drivers of biodiversity loss and promote sustainable practices. So I would say that this is a kind of safeguards for biodiversity. But the second point, as I mentioned, is about a business perspective. In our opinion, by investing in biodiversity, conservation, and sustainable practices, we are unlocking the private sector opportunities in this sector. I will highlight three of them. The first one is innovation and market differentiation. Okay, so this will help companies to attract new customers, even to gain competitive edge. This is the first one. The second one, very important, cost savings.
Yeah.
I mean, you will, by doing these practices, to gain efficiency and to better use your resources. And the third one, which is really important, is that you can improve your risk management, okay? And by doing that, you will improve your long-term resilience, which is, I mean, paramount for the companies. So access to new investment opportunities, brand visibility and improvement, secure long-term profitability in your business.
That's very interesting, Carlos. But what are the main challenges of the financing biodiversity?
Our perception is that in general, the world is looking into biodiversity as something that needs to be addressed by the public sector, by NGOs. So there is this understanding or perception that this is not something related with the private sector. So this is not true. Although a lot of biodiversity is about conservation, we need to bring the private sector into this world. Okay, so I would say that this is really the biggest challenge that you have, is to make the markets understand that biodiversity is also a problem, an opportunity for the private sector.
Carlos, you have a big audience in the Sustainability Week. So what is your final message for the audience? What would you like them to get us the takeaway from this conversation?
I would say, I mean, the GDP of the countries of the world is depending very much on the nature, on the resources. So we need really to protect the biodiversity and all the natural resources. Otherwise, I mean, the GDP grow as we have seen in the last years is not going to happen. So because of that, the private sector engagement and innovative financial solutions is key to support this transition. My message here is that this guide will help the companies to bridge this distance between what they are doing right now and what they should be doing to address the biodiversity challenges.
Okay. Well, Carlos, thank you very much for this conversation, and congratulations to IFC for this innovative biodiversity finance reference guide. This is a mouthful. This is a long name.
Just to let you know that this guide will be uploaded in our website in the upcoming years. Will be available for all the audience, so everybody will have the opportunity to access, to read it, to study it, and to use it. in their business.
That is fantastic, and I really appreciate that. And with that, I thank you, and thanks to our audience for participating, and keep watching more of Sustainability Week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.